What's the dumbest thing a dealership has ever said to a customer? I bought a 2014 Mazda 5 from one of those buy here, pay here dealerships. It wasn't fancy, but I liked it. The van was compact, easy to drive, and perfect for my work. Everything was fine until Christmas Day. We drove out to visit family, had dinner, opened gifts, and when it was time to head home, the van refused to start. We checked everything under the hood and realized quickly something was seriously wrong. The horn wasn't even connected. Fuses that weren't absolutely necessary were missing. And the tires? Still the originals from 2014. When we hooked it up to a scanner, several error codes popped up, but the big one was the immobilizer system, something I didn't even know the car had. We called AAA, but since we were in the middle of nowhere, they couldn't get a tow truck under our plan. So we paid for one ourselves and submitted the bill later. The van was towed to a local shop, and our family let us borrow a car to get home. A few days later, the shop called with the diagnosis. The only thing keeping the van from starting was the immobilizer. They couldn't fix it without the dealer's authorization. I live in Texas, a one-party consent state, and I always record my calls. So I set up a three-way call between myself, the shop, and the dealership. That call lasted exactly 17 minutes and 43 seconds. During it, the dealership admitted that my account was up to date, said the immobilizer must have malfunctioned, and gave the shop permission to bypass it. They also agreed to reimburse me for the towing and repair costs. A couple of days later, the shop had the van running again. The total bill came to just under $300. I paid, picked up the van, and then started trying to get reimbursed like they promised. At first, the dealership's phone reps were polite, but every time I called, I got passed around from one department to another until someone eventually hung up. This went on for a while. Frustrated, I turned to Reddit for advice, and as usual, Reddit knew exactly what to do. Following their tips, I kept calling until I got a supervisor. He told me he'd take care of it, but 2 days later, nothing. I called again, got another manager, and he flat out said, "We're not responsible for mechanical issues," and hung up. I called back, told him I had the recorded call with proof that the dealership authorized everything, but he cut me off mid-sentence and said, "What, are you going to sue us over $296? Go ahead, we'll win. If that little amount matters that much, you probably don't have the resources to actually sue." That was the moment I decided, fine, I will. I went to the Justice of the Peace office and explained the situation. The clerk gave me small claims paperwork and explained my options. I could pay extra for the constable to serve the lawsuit, or I could take the unfiled form directly to the dealership and give them one last chance to settle it. The first option cost more than I could afford, so I chose the second. I transcribed the recorded calls, gathered the repair bills, and filled out the paperwork. The hardest part was figuring out the company's registered agent, but Reddit came through for that too. Once everything was ready, I headed to the dealership's payment center. When it was my turn in line, I asked to speak with John, the same manager who told me to sue. He came over and immediately recognized my name. I explained the whole situation again, showed him the documents, and reminded him of his own words. He started to brush me off until I told him, "You told me to sue, and here's the paperwork ready to be filed. I'm giving you one final chance." He looked through everything, asked if I still had the recordings, and I said yes. I even offered to email them over. We sat there for almost an hour as he read through all the evidence. Finally, I said, "If nothing happens today, I'm heading straight back to the courthouse and filing this. I'll also send copies to every email on your corporate website." That's when a woman in a power suit walked over, asking what was going on. Turned out, she was John's boss's boss's boss, someone high up. She wasn't happy about what she heard. She took my documents, gave me her personal card, cell number, and email, and told me she'd fix it herself. The following Monday, right at 8 a.m., she called. She asked if applying a credit to my account would be acceptable. I said yes. She explained they'd credit $500 toward my account, more than what I spent, and apply it to future payments. My bi-weekly payments were $155, so that covered over a month. I asked her why it took all this effort for something so simple. She laughed and said, "It shouldn't have. Certain people are no longer employed here." That Wednesday, I checked my account, and the payment was already marked as paid. All it took was being told, "Go ahead and sue." So I did, and it worked.